Welcome to Archangel Revelations and Prophecies 444. I am Gad, your host. Now, the chart on the left is the full moon of January 10th, 2020. That is a chart I did for my clients. Now, the chart on the right is the client who wanted a full moon reading as well as the natal chart. And all my clients did get this chart on the left. So on this video, we will be going right into the chart on the right. We may make a couple of comparisons as well. All right, this is the new moon person, the person on the right. The person on the right, as you can see, you have the sun and the moon in the same house. Now, the main thing about a new moon person is this: they're about it. They're about that action. They jump right in, and you can see how her new moon is squaring her Leo, which is her rising sign is Leo. Her sun sign is Taurus. Moon sign is Taurus. Medium Coeli is Taurus. True North Node is Virgo. So first and foremost, being Leo, whenever you see Leo, like your 12th house and your ascendant have a relationship with your past life and your present life. And whenever you see a Leo, usually you're dealing with ego, rather person. And I'm talking pretty much karmic is what I'm trying to say. But different Leos are different. A Leo who's a little bit more mature and been through a lot, he may not be as because a lot of people see Leo as pushy, bossy, uh, uh, want all the attention, want all the sunshine and all that. And that could be true, but every Leo's not like that. Like it just depends on how long they've been around and how much from the past life did they bring over into this life. Because some Leos really are leaders of the pack. They're more or less looking out for the pack. They're not just being egotistic and what about me, what about me? But they really are going around looking out for the pack and stuff like that. So you gotta figure out which one you're dealing with because everybody's different. But either way, with the new moon energy, it's going to be a strong desire to dive in. And new moon personalities are known for not finishing up. Like they'll dive in, they want it new and exciting. And if they don't get it new and exciting, then they'll be ready to dive back out. So that would be one thing you have to be very careful about yourself. So a new moon personality. Now this is CarrieSamuels.com because she has a moon phase calendar and then she tells you what the moon phase means. So you would use the calendar to look up what phase you were born under, and then you get the information. Look right down and it'll tell you what phase, your personality based on that moon phase. So this person wants to leave their mark on the world, and as you can see, it's right in your career sector, the 10th house. So your waxing moon begins in darkness. So you may feel that. You may feel like, wait a minute, because remember you got a lot of Leo. So wait a minute, somebody's trying to mess with my shine. So you have an inner urge to protect your light. Because remember, if you're talking about the moon, you're talking about the moon and the sun, but at the same time, the moon is going to really be your inward emotions and things like that, your feminine emotions. So you'll really be aware of, I want my shine. Nobody's going to take my shine. My light is going to shine. They say you're a forward thinker and a real go-getter. You're always going to show new life and zeal. You are beginning in a brand of new karmic. You are beginning a brand new karmic cycle, and you're ready to try anything. It says, "Go you." So that's what I say. And the new moon personality, they're good. They're good with starting stuff out, but to stay with it and really accomplish it or deal with obstacles or whatever, they may not be that inclined to do that. Because only if it has their attention. If the situation doesn't really have their attention, they will kind of like leave it, hoping somebody else looks at it or whatever. So that's not always a good trait to do. So that would be one thing, to start what you finish, and also just slow down and don't dive into things, because that's what happens. You dive in and you're like, wait a minute, I don't like this or I don't like that, and now you want to dive out because that's a new moon personality. It's not going to show any form of stamina as far as staying in. So you have to find ways also to keep yourself eager and interested. Now your new moon was 3 days in. The new moon actually started, well, really a day before, but they called it a new moon. So 2 days before you were born, they called it a new moon, but they didn't really select it to the day right before you were born. And now we'll take a look at something else if we can find it. I can't guarantee they're going to have it, but we'll see if they have it. All right, let's see. Now I'm at, this is supposed to be time and date, which it looks like it. Let me see. But the only thing about it, I'm trying to get the time, which they're not going to give me, so this is not really what I'm looking for. All right. Just give me a moment. I'll try to find them when I can. We are looking for it. All right. See, I had found it earlier for a full moon, but you really want new moon. Oh, come on. I typed new moon in the address bar, and they still gave me full moon. Phases. I think I got it. I think. Yeah, no, 79. Okay, April. All right, so new moon was 8:17 a.m. And it looks like you were born about 4.5 hours after that. But again, that's the thing with the new moon personality. The new moon just wants it new and keeping. And see, so you have what's kind of like an Aries personality as far as diving in. And then when we go to your first house, which is ruled by Aries, even see your 10th house is career, and it's opposite. Your first house is um opposition. It's a word I'm trying to find. Give me 1 second. I'll get it. Square. So your 10th house squares your first house, 90-degree angle. So what that's saying is overall, because there's this whole new moon personality and all that. So you're destined to jump in. You're good with diving in and taking that leadership role, and that's cool. Like if you're a manager, that's cool. I'm just giving you my personal opinion on that. If you're a manager, it's cool to dive in and tell somebody else to do it, because you're a manager. Because even where I work at, I'm kind of like that. A lot of times the managers, for whatever reason, they'll help out on work and stuff like that. But see, I'm old school. When we were young, they figured that's why they were paying you. You know why? They don't have to, because they should be doing more stuff like the business, the business end of it. Like, to me, really good management, and that's what they had to learn about me. Really good management is you train your employees to run that place. That's how I was trained. But I say I'm old school. So I could run that whole freaking building. Whether the manager showed up or not, I could be outside, inside. I could be anywhere in that building running it, because that's how I was trained. And that's good business, because you don't have to be everywhere. And you don't want to be. It's taking up too much of your time to follow somebody else. Because why are you paying that person if you still got to follow them and keep asking? Did you remember? Did you remember? Why didn't you do it? And that's what they pay managers to do. But that's a waste of money. You gotta get people in there that want to work and want to take instruction and learn. So that's cool. And this is in the business. But other than that, it's uncool, because if you're sitting around and you jump up like your Leo jumps up, or the kind of the stubborn Taurus, or the strong Taurus, or the hard Taurus, and you come in, oh, you do this, you do that, and you don't do jack, then one, you won't be learning, and then number two, people are gonna get sick of always doing your job for you. And then of course they're gonna say you have like a bullhead or a cocky attitude, or all they want to, she's pushy, she's bossy, and people think that's cool, but usually that's not cool. And some people have it in a relationship. And again, if your partner can put up with it, then that's between you and your partner, if they can put up with it. But some people ain't trying to hear all that, bossiness or laziness and all that. So again, if you're a manager, you have every right, because this is in your 10th house and your first house. You have every right to be a Leo, be a boss, walk around, looking around, seeing is everybody working, what's going on over here, or this needs to be done. You come over here and do it. If you know how to delegate and regulate instruction, because it wouldn't be smart to tell somebody else. Like, suppose somebody else is always busy, so you say, well, call him because he's always busy. He'll get it done. But he can only do so much. So if you call him or her and they're always busy, that's kind of crazy. Because I've been in too many jobs where they say to my, are you the only employee here? I go outside, you're outside working. I call, you pick up the phone. I go, you're over here. Are you the only person that works here? I've had people say that to me. Where's everybody else at? Why aren't they out here? I've heard that throughout my career. So that's not cool to just take one person, just throw it on one person and stuff. So you gotta know how to delegate it. You gotta delegate it so that it's fair. And if you have to work as a manager, then you have to work because you might be understaffed or whatever the case might be. Something might need to be done, and maybe you just need to be there because you really know how to do it. So that's what you got going on with your first house and your 10th house. But it's definitely a leader and it's an initiation. But unfortunately, because you're a new moon person, you will have a problem of starting stuff and getting bored starting stuff, and maybe it doesn't get finished. And I would tell you, even if you do assign it to somebody else, you should practice follow up. Because what's going to happen, you're going to assign it to somebody else, and then they may not get it done, and then you thought they got it done, and now it's not done, and you know how that goes. And a while will go by, and then you'll need it, and it won't be done, and that's how people get fired. And you even have a Saturn retrograde. See, that's all about time delay, and that's all about things that should have got done, but somehow they didn't get done. So that's why that new moon in those areas can be dangerous to you, especially like when they talk about Saturn. A lot of time that deals with court situations. So you think you're ready for court and all that, and then when it's time to go to court, you find out that all this paperwork was not done correctly, or you can't find it, or da da da. So that's that whole new moon personality. So I always tell people, they may choose not to listen, but always hold yourself accountable, and don't take the easy way out, and just hold yourself accountable so that stuff doesn't blow back in your face. Now we're going to stay in your 10th house a little bit more. Again, this is career and reputation and Taurus. Taurus is about that money. Taurus is about that money. But again, even if you had, let's say you had your business or your own business, you have to learn how to marinate customers and clients and stuff. And a lot of people don't. But that's a new moon personality. Because you might meet the person, you may hang in there, and you may get the job done, but you never offered any further services. So in business, like I work in retail, so they tell us that all the time. So in business, you can't have a new moon personality. You can only have a new moon personality when you first meet the client. But then you're trying to develop some type of rapport with that client, trying to get them to come back in the store, and on and on and on. So your first house is how people see you outwardly. They, like I said, they would see you as a Leo. And again, Leo rules the 5th house. So I'm going to say all this now so that when we get to the 5th house, I won't have to repeat it. Leo rules the 5th house. And that's all about fun, creativity, not dating, but not serious dating, children, anything that's fun. It could be exercise, but anything that's fun. It's also creativity. The 3rd house and the 5th house are the most creative houses. And I would say Scorpio's creative too. That would be the 8th house. Now, because when we go to your 5th house, you see Sagittarius and Neptune, but it's retrograde. So once again, it's psychic gifts. And you being a new moon person, that's also psychic gifts as well. And remember, like I said, your 10th house is karma. So you kind of got like a karmic connection with a Taurus energy. And possibly a Leo energy as well. Now, your EP is the East Point. That's where the sun went over the ecliptic when you were born. Your AC is your ascendant or your rising sign. This is when the sun went over the horizon when you were born. Both being Leo. So once again, we deal with Leo. We are dealing with it could be a lot of confidence. It could be ego. And they're romantic. They're sensitive though. You got to be careful because they're very sensitive, and they really believe in like loyalty. So I've had a couple of females tell me, "Oh, I won't date a Leo." I say, "Why won't you date a Leo?" Because I dated all these different zodiac signs, and I never had a problem telling them what I was going to do. The moment I got a Leo, I say, "Hey, I'm gonna go do this," and that Leo said, "No, you're not. Oh, you're not. If you're in a relationship, then you're not gonna be going out like." And I busted out laughing when I was told that because I'm a Leo, and I've had at least 2 different females tell me that. Oh no, I don't date no Leo. So I was cracking up because it is kind of true, but I'm still gonna say it depends on how old the person is. Like are they experienced? Because some things you learn in life, but you have to learn from experience. Otherwise, you're going to have an idealism. Because Leo has a fifth house child kind of innocence about a Leo. They just want to do it because it's the right thing to do and all that. But they have to learn how to the planet you're on. You got to learn how the planet runs and how to, and you got to work. You got to realize it is what it is. And that's what I mean about a new moon personality. Because the new moon personality will just dive in. It's new, it's exciting, and they want to dive in. Especially with your placement with Leo right there in the first house. So then you want to dive in, but then when stuff isn't what you want it to be, you want to jump out. And people that's not like nobody likes that. Nobody likes somebody jumps in and then all of a sudden they jump out. But unfortunately, it happens. You know, there's not too much you can do about it because it does happen. All right. So we'll talk more about your fifth house, but it's psychic because Neptune is there. Neptune deals with your dreams and your subconscious mind, and Sagittarius also deals with psychic stuff, but not just earthly stuff. That's psychic too, but it's also throughout the universe. All right. So like I said, with Taurus in the 10th house, you will be because Taurus rules the second house of finances and things like that. So when we look at your 10th house and your second house, this is somewhat of earthly person are going to be a little bit probably worrying about material things. Could be materialistic, but they will be worrying about material things like that. And that's also your true north node. But that Saturn retrograde with Lilith is deep in it, and they're both retrograde. So we have to be very take our time when we go over your second house. So ironically, your Jupiter is in. So you will be making that money. Your Jupiter is in your first house for Leo. So like I said, this is somewhat of a go-getter. But the only thing is like I don't think building your clients will be your forte. But you will be able to get money. Because Jupiter's right there. And it's at 0 degrees, which is Uranus energy coming out of nowhere. So you will have a measure of luck. You will have a measure of luck. And that's why I said one of my favorite characters of all time was Inspector Clouseau. Because he would get his man, he would get the man he was pursuing to arrest, but it was always by sheer luck. Like he did everything wrong. The guy was a complete total idiot, but still he just got the guy anyway. And then was just hilariously watching. Peter Sellers did a great job playing Inspector Clouseau. I don't think nobody he did that role so well that nobody else could ever play that role ever again except for Peter Sellers, and he's no longer alive. So point being made is you got that Jupiter right there. So your boldness, diving in and all that, is still going to get you income. And it's karmic because you see all that karma going on in your second house because Saturn is karma. But anytime you see a retrograde, that's usually dealing with past life stuff and karma. So now your EP again 1 degree. Now that would be the magician card. The 0 degree is the Fool card, the Fool tarot card. That's Uranus energy. The Magician card is Gemini energy. So you will have a type of childish way about you, a child's way about you, how you pursue. But like I said, at the end of the day, the truth of the matter is all this stuff is psychic. That's why you got that Neptune and Sagittarius in your 5th house and all that. All this stuff is intuitive with the universe. And that's why when a person gives a reading, they have to remember that. Because it's easy to start to sound, it doesn't have to be that way. Like a person might do something that makes no sense and be blessed by it, whereas another person might go traditional and step by step, and it's got to pay out, and it never does. So when you're on your chart, I see a lot of luck coming from Jupiter, Sagittarius, tapping in, like I said, the intuition and all that stuff. So I think it's 1 degree, 5 minutes, your EP. Like I said, that 5 is either that Taurus energy or the Leo energy. And then you got a number 19, with your AC, and again that's the Sun card. So you got a 19 degrees, which is the Sun, but then that 2 degrees is the High Priestess card, which is the Moon. So say your twin soul, or you might find yourself in a relationship with somebody that has either Leo or Aries energy. Because remember, Aries rules that 1st house. Now Capricorn rules your 10th house. But Aries is that fire sign, Capricorn is the earth sign. And going back to your 10th house, once again, Leo is at 6 degrees. So like I said, see, that's the Gemini energy or the Lover's card. So like I said, this again would be somebody who's either Capricorn or a Taurus. And then you have healing at 9 degrees in Taurus. But again, 9 degrees takes you back to your 2nd house, because that's Virgo energy. That's the Hermit. And that's number 13. 19 degrees, 9 degrees, 13 minutes. 13 is the Scorpio energy, or the death. The death. So the implication is after some type of death and rebirth, you get this healing. After some type of death and rebirth with this Taurus energy, that's really in Capricorn as well, the 10th house, you get healing. Now, when you go to medium Coeli, it's 14 degrees, and I always write it down. Let's hope I can find it. If not, I'll just look it up. Alright, so 14 degrees, once again, is that Sagittarius energy. And we'll learn more about the Sagittarius, but that's your higher self. But Sagittarius is also about healing. And that Sagittarius energy is called the Temperance. So it's internal change going on, as well as you, because the tarot card Temperance is about internal change. It's the balancing of your masculine and your feminine, but it's going on inside of you. And that's why you see death. Because there's always some type of change after a Scorpio or a Pluto type situation. So that's what you see in your 10th house. And this could literally be your job, but it could also be karma. And since your 10th house is ruled by Capricorn, we follow your Capricorn, going back to your 6th house, which is Virgo. But now, if you notice, ain't nothing in your sixth house, and that's home and family. So once again, maybe somebody was too business minded to really give a loving, give a loving home situation and stuff like that. So you have to be careful because Capricorn is considered a cold sign, and all about the business and because this is a karmic situation, but it's too business like, it's too cold. So you got to try to get some life going there as well. And that's Chiron healing, medium Coeli, the highest point on your chart, internal change. And to see that internal change is 10. 10 degrees is the wheel card. So it works for you. The internal change, the Sagittarius energy works for you. And the wheel card is Jupiter energy again. So you're being blessed. That's the Wheel of Fortune I meant. Not the World card, but the Wheel of Fortune card. And to find out more, you will go right to where Sagittarius is on your chart, right back in the 5th house. So the 5th house is very fiery. But then you still have to be careful because Neptune retrograde is implying escapism or alcoholism or some type of drug addiction. And then it's right there with 20 degrees, which is the Judgment card. And then 10 degrees too, which is, like I said, Wheel of Fortune. It's at 10 minutes though. It's 20 degrees, 10 minutes. So something will happen with all of some hanging out and partying that may not be all favorable, but it will help this situation, this person to mature a little bit. It's going to help them transform. And remember, Saturn retrograde is always affecting you in your subconscious mind. All right. Then when you get to your moon, that's funny how your moon, it almost looks like you got 3. I got to find out why that happened. I got to go back to your, because I'm going to copy your chart. I'm going back to your original chart. Okay, so that's what happened. So that's 22 degrees, which again is a twin flame number, is also the number of God's people. And I'm just want to make sure we get the numerology correct. 22 degrees and 8 minutes. So there's a lot of Scorpio energy up in this 10th house. And you got to remember, Taurus opposes Scorpio. Because Taurus is about your money or your possessions, the 2nd house. And the Scorpio is about other people's money or shared resources and things of that nature. So it looks like you got a kind of like battle going on in your 10th house. I told you your 10th house is karmic. And remember, the sun represents the male or the external, the ego. And then the moon represents the feminine, inside is hidden. And we said you're going to be making internal transformations. So with this person, you're going to be making these internal transformations concerning money and yourself, and if you're in a relationship with that person. And the number 8 is the 8th house. Again, death and rebirth again. And seeing your 8th house, that's why I said this is psychic. And your twin flame is probably psychic too. Because in all that Neptune Pisces, that's all your dreams, that's telecommunication, telepathic. When you see Neptune and Sagittarius, it's all dreaming about each other, telepathic. But if you notice, it just keeps missing. Like Juno misses and Pisces misses. Juno comes right before your 10th house. Pisces comes right after your 7th house. That's a relationship house. So it's just missing. But it does all get there in your 9th house, it looks like. Which is, again, ruled by Sagittarius, which can be psychic. But you're still dealing with Aries, aggression. And you're dealing with Mars. So these are people duking it out, if you ask me. These are two people that duking it out. And, like, people get mad sometimes. They be like, what are you talking about? Because I don't know nothing about no twin. I haven't seen my twin. I don't know what's going on. Well, here's the deal. First, you have to learn what twin flames is. That's why I give everybody that free report. You have to put the work in, because there's so many people don't even know what a twin flame is. They know they're in some type of twin flame relationship, but they don't know what it is. And some of them say, oh, this isn't my twin. This is a fake twin. This has got to be my twin because we get along. But the fact of the matter is, most twin flames don't get along. Some of them do, but most twin flames hate each other. They be in separation for a long time. So you have to learn what twin flames is first before you can say, oh, what are you doing? Hey. That's why you have to learn how to do it the correct way, which is the way I'm showing you. It's that simple. Because if you have a general idea that this is your twin or whatever, and you two don't get along, that's normal. That's supposed to happen. That's separation. You guys got to get healing and get past that. This is why you see her Chiron up in that area and stuff like that, because she's got to get past that. This has been some type of aggression. Probably, duking it out in past lives and stuff like that. Did you see where her Juno is? That little star? That's Juno. That means a serious relationship. Look at it. 21. 21 is the world card. Saturn energy. So this is a Saturnian or a karmic relationship. And it looks like they've been duking it out. Lifetimes. So that's why they have to get to the point that they want union more than they want ego. That's why when I first started, I told you Leo and stuff like that. Because if you want, like when people try to make somebody, because I'm on this planet a lot, and I notice a lot of people try to make you do what they want you to. If you go to religion, they're going to make you. Dr. Phil just had some people on, they were in a religious cult. And so they said, you women have to wear special clothes. That lets the church know that you've been sentenced. They said, that sounds crazy to me. So they're fighting for their individualism and their freedom, whereas the church is fighting more for what is the way we're going to do it. Even though, like I said, I did all that stuff in the 80s, and that's just one big hypocritical thing anyway. And you'll do it until you finally realize that you don't need all that foolishness. You don't need anything in your life that's going to be tearing you down and giving you guilt complexes and stuff like that. All right. So we got that pretty much going on. And we'll be looking at more of that as we go around the chart. But we definitely see that we know for a fact this is karma. Karma, it is dealing with the ego. And that's why I say that sun, that number 19, or seeing a sun, that could be totally highly ego driven. Like, oh, I'm in the 10th house. I'm going to be famous. I'm going to make a lot of money. Me. And most people say, hey, well, there's nothing wrong with that. And sometimes it's not. But sometimes it is. Just like I said earlier. If you're a new moon personality, if you're at a job as a manager, you can say, hey, you, Johnny, come here. What are you doing? Johnny, what are you doing today? Okay, Johnny. Okay, well, I need you to fit this in your schedule today. Blah, 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 blah. And if Johnny knows what he's doing, you ain't got nothing to worry about. So now you don't have to do it. You can do whatever. You should be doing paperwork or fraternizing with the customers or something, anything to generate a better business, a stronger business. That's how it's really supposed to work. But if you bring that same new moon personality into a relationship or your family or something, they're going to get sick of you dictating and relegating, and you ain't never doing jack dilly squat. They're not going to put up with it. So it's a time and place for everything. All right. So we got pretty much the overall of the chart. I'm going to put this on pause. And then, well, let me see. I want to do one thing, though. So again, you got a stellium going on in the career sector. So wherever you have Capricorn on your chart or your 10th house, what's ever going on here, and I already told you all about death and rebirth. Death and rebirth. So again, you would have to be on the lookout for it. And sometimes these messages are very subtle. A lot of people think it's going to just come up and shake your hand. Usually it's not. That's why I said when you really get into this, you start learning things like meditating, your intention, and things like that. Because believe me, this is how I feel. This is how I feel. No matter how intense this life is that we live on this planet, I think if somebody really shows you, I can only speak for myself, but if somebody really shows you that they're serious, you'd be more inclined to take them serious. Like, because I try to tell people over and over again, if you've been on this planet for over 30 or something years, you're going to be a certain, I mean, if you've learned, because some people just keep on being optimistic and keep on giving people chances and keep on getting smacked around and hurt. But once you've gotten to the point where you say, I don't want this no more, I'm not taking this no more, I won't take it anymore. When you finally get to that point, now it's harder because the universe is going to still be sending you this and sending you that and sending you that, but you ain't falling for it. You're like, man, I tried that back. I tried that junk at 75. I'm not doing that again. Man, I just did this in 90, and that's how you be thinking. If you really learning, you be thinking that because everything that happened, you say, man, that junk happened in 98. I'm not with that no more. I'm not no kid no more. What the heck is it? Like, you just don't want it. You just don't care because you don't want to go through it. You don't want to go through the pain and stuff again. And now your pain is, like I see, your Chiron is right there. And it's funny, your Chiron is 9 degrees. And I believe that is the number 13. But it's going to take you back to wherever Virgo is or your 6th house. And when you go to your 6th house, look who's there but Capricorn. So this could be a home business at home, something like that. But it's also karmic. Anywhere where you see Saturn or a Capricorn, because Saturn rules Capricorn, it's karmic. And when you see where your Virgo is, look who's there, Saturn. So you know this is karmic, and also it's based on past life. So you've had problems with authority in a past life. Now, could have been your boss, could have been some type of career, or you could have been doing something out of the home. And I know that's kind of like what it is because notice your Saturn is 7 degrees, which is Cancer energy. So this is going to be family and or the mother. So this is like another 4th house or the home. When you go to your 4th house, what do you got there? You got Scorpio, and look what's in your Scorpio. Crazy old Uranus, ready to go out of nowhere, and then it's pointed straight up. So when you follow that red line going on straight up, it takes you right back to the 10th house. And that's how you know it's karmic. Remember, Scorpio is shared resources and other people's money. But Taurus is your money. So if you notice, there's always a problem between family or the mother and the career or life. And that's still going on now, even with this stellium. But the career aspect is going to be so shook up right now that you have to be careful. And also, look at the full moon. Now, the full moon is saying it's a Uranus retrograde in Taurus. In your case, it's Uranus retrograde in Scorpio. So there might be issues between your money and other people's money. And that's why I said it could be one. You might be staying with somebody. This is just I'm thinking of a word. I don't know what word to say. This is just an illustration. Let's say you're staying with somebody and something's always going wrong and you're fixing it. Like you're doing manual labor. You're fixing this, you're fixing that, you're fixing that. So it's getting to the point where you have no life because you're always fixing this person's life. There are problems every time you look around. So you kind of feel like, well, listen, the whole month of December was me fixing for this person. I didn't have no time for myself. So they may come up to you and say, hey, you owe me some money for this and that. But you may honestly feel like, well, I don't think I owe you anything for December because I spent a lot of time and my energy and even money for resources to fix your place up. And so that's how things start. Because they're like, oh, no, that's something you chose to do. No, you still owe me money. You're like, well, first off, I ain't got no money because I spent a lot of money on tools and stuff for you and blah, blah, blah. And I'm not giving you nothing else. My whole month was exhausted dealing with you. So now that person's pissed off and mad and all kind of crazy stuff. So what I'm trying to tell you is that's what happens when you see Scorpio opposing Taurus. And this is going on in 4. And then whenever you see Scorpio in the 4th house, that's the house of family. So therefore, these are soul people that you've had past lives with before. But your 4th house is fully teenage to adult education, land, property, real estate, the heart, vehicles and travel, ancestors and family, and the person who raised you in a mother capacity when you were young is Imom Coeli, and she'll always be in your subconscious mind. So because of these mental things going on in your life that we're seeing, you have to be careful because it could get you gotta be careful how you think, because Scorpio will make your thoughts come to life. This is very supernatural, fourth house with family, and you gotta watch how you think about loved ones and people teenage to adult education, whoever you go to school with or whatever. Whatever I said. You gotta watch how you think, because how you're thinking could make it happen in reality. But that's for family as well. Any form of Uranus in Scorpio could be science, technology. You got to be careful. Electrical shocks, things coming out of nowhere, and there's also some form of revelation because you got the sun there. So out of nowhere, something will be found, might be found out. And anything could be found, especially family related stuff, whether good or bad. It can come out of nowhere with that Uranus retrograde. And I'm going to say both for Saturn retrograde and Uranus retrograde, you have to be patient, and you can't have extremes, because people too hot or too cold, but they don't have a middle ground. You have to learn to have a middle ground. You have to realize that whether you're right or wrong, you can't expect everybody to do what you want them to do. And that goes back to Taurus, because Taurus tries to bully people, and also Taurus puts value on people, whereas you're not supposed to treat people like you would your car or stuff like that. But Taurus will say, well, there goes Jeff. Jeff's a hard worker, and they'll be very friendly towards Jeff. There goes Bob. I hate Bob. Bob's lazy, and they treat Bob like garbage. But you're not supposed to do that. You can't. People still have feelings whether you like them or not. So you don't want to treat them like, because some people do that. Oh, I love this car. Bring that car up to the front of the house. Put my other one right next to that. So in the front of the house, all these nice, well shined up wax cars and stuff. But then in the shed is some other stuff that maybe is broke down and they don't want to deal with it, and blah blah. So you can't do that with humans. You can do that with possessions, but not humans, because humans have feelings. So again, with the full moon, a lot of that stuff, that struggle I'm talking about, will still be going on. But with stelliums in that eighth house, see, that would affect your fourth house because it's Scorpio. And then stellium in Capricorn, which affects your 10th house, is going to affect your Taurus or your money. But because Jupiter is there, the chart to the left is probably going to work out in your favor. That's what it looks like. And you just have to try to make sure you know the difference between your money and other people's money. And shared money had better be really shared money. Otherwise, you're going to get stuck with that. And anything like, you have a free report, so make sure you learn about the 8th house, Scorpio and Pluto. Because that's a supernatural house, business, science, higher sciences, finances, karma. So Uranus retrograde is anything coming out of nowhere, but the reason why you got that Uranus retrograde in your fourth house because it's going to expose anything that's in there. Remember, Scorpio is all about mysteries and it could be highly sexual, but it's all this stuff that you don't want nobody to know and stuff. But Uranus retrograde is there with 19 degrees sun energy because 19 degrees is a sun card to expose it, and it can come out of anywhere. And Uranus retrograde is one of those things that's anything could happen. Like one thing may be going one way in your favor, and then all of a sudden it's just totally out of your favor, you know, or it may not be going in your favor, and all of a sudden it just goes in your favor. But remember, the sun is always about really, when it's in Scorpio and stuff like that, it's about revealing, revealing. And even your Cancer, which rules the fourth house, is in the 12th house. See, that's what that is. The 12th house is all about subconscious stuff, hidden stuff, but it's put in the 12th house to reveal it. And it's also about karma, like we've been talking about. And remember, Neptune rules the 12th house, and Neptune rules Pisces. So all this is wherever you see Neptune or Pisces on your chart, all this past life stuff with the family is going to be, and that's why you got to be honest. You got to bring it out open. Deal with professional help, professional counselors, because you have to deal with it. Because basically, it's on your natal chart, and it's going to stay there and going to kind of drive it a certain way. Like I said today, I saw a very beautiful person as far as externally, but internally they've been through a lot of shit. So the first thing you say to them, they looking for a fight. Even if you just gave them a compliment, they looking for a fight. But you don't, if you know better, you don't take it personal because they don't even know you. They don't know you like that. But they just been through so much shit. So right away, as soon as you say something, they want to duke it up and be ready to go to war. So you gotta get the healing, because if you're looking for any type of real stuff in life and not just emotional stuff all the time, that's why you got the sun and the moon. Because the moon is going to be all internal emotions, and it needs to be dealt with and healed. Hold me, or listen to me. Let me tell you what I've been through. And the sun is more like just energy. Like, let's go, let's do this, let's do that. That's the fire signs and all that crazy stuff. All right, let's continue. All right. So your true north node, that looks like a little horseshoe. This is your second house. Leo, where your AC is, that's your first house. Second house, true north node, again, 16 degrees. So that's the Mars card. That's like the Tower card. That's all about breaking down things being broken down, and or breaking down belief systems. The Tower card is about destroying the establishment, destroying religion. And then whenever you break it down, you build up, rebuild up. But you seem to have a lot of that on your chart. A lot of going down, coming back up. But again, that sounds a lot like a new moon personality, because they always want it new. So you can almost agree. You can almost agree that a new moon personality is going to do something for a while, but then they're just going to stop it. They're going to either do it with somebody else, something new, or whatever. And some people, they got to have arguments, like, so that they can make up and break up. Like a lot of people, and I would say most people are pretty much working off of their emotions, pretty much working off of their psychological stuff going on inside of them. A lot of times people do stuff and then they'll tell you, I don't even know why I said that. I don't even know why I did that. So looking at your second house, going right over to And you're, I believe that's. Well, let me see. Let me make sure. Yeah, so they turned your ninth house, which is Sagittarius energy, into a war zone. That is literally a war zone. I'm gonna do it again. All right. So we're gonna talk about your ninth house really quick and we'll come back to it. Your ninth house is anything foreign, anything long distance. It's culture, philosophy, religion, belief systems, higher courts, higher laws, your higher self. It could even be in-laws. So when you see Juno and Venus in your ninth house and see Aries there, and Sagittarius rules it. Aries is a fire sign. So you may have your lover or your soulmate, whoever this person is. They may be the Aries energy or that fire sign. I'm going to pretty much say it is your twin because you also see it in your first house, which is ruled by Aries. And this is probably some type of foreigner. But that fire is in them. Because there are some ethnic groups that are known for that fiery anger. Well, you definitely see it in your ninth house. And we'll talk about it more when we get there. All right. So if you notice the chart on the left, Mars is in Sagittarius, and her Mars is in the ninth house, which is ruled by Sagittarius. So her dreams, she's being affected subconsciously by her dreams and things. Now it all depends on where she's at, the level she's on. Like I said, well, you all might not have heard me say this, so I'm gonna repeat it because I had to do this over twice. This is the second time I actually did this. It's people that don't know what a twin flames is, and they go by what they think. Like this is the wacky stuff you see out here on YouTube with these bubblegum people. So the first thing is everybody has a soul family. As you're learning even today, a lot of us have lived many lifetimes, past lives, whatever you want to call it. So you have soul families. Just like when you see Scorpio in the fourth house, that's probably soul families. But remember, the fourth house is teenage to adult education, land, property, real estate, the mother in your subconscious mind, Imon Coeli, health, vehicles, and travel. So now, like I said, where I'm at, a lot of where I'm at could remind you of places in the Midwest or places in Nevada or even Cali. Like in Nevada, you see a lot of that sand out there and all that stuff. Then they built army base, but they did the same thing out here. Because once again, what really happened was when they overthrew the people that were running. I just got finished talking about Sand Hill Indians, and I think that I said that in this video, if I'm not mistaken. So where I'm at, this is where the Sand Hill Indians used to run everything. But when they got overthrown, then these people came in and put up all this stuff. But one thing they built is a big ass army base, because it's a big ass army base where I'm at. It's further up, what we call a hill. It's further up that hill, but it's an army base. And you can see the same thing over in California or Nevada. So when they overthrew those people that really had all this technology and power, so they want you to think these people just riding around on a horse going woo, 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 like the Three Stooges or something. Or they want you to think all these people did was look up at the moon and do moon dances and stuff and sun dance and all this crazy stuff. But no, they had high technology. They just got overthrown. That's why I said the more you listen to somebody like Remedy H, you start to get an idea of how highly technologically advanced these people were that got overthrown. And this was more like a space war than it was just, oh, somebody came out of the caves in Europe and overthrew everybody. Now it was way more than. That's why they got a period that they call the Dark Ages, where they don't want to talk about it. Well, what happened during the Dark Ages? Or they don't want to talk about it. What type of information was destroyed during the Dark Ages? They don't want to tell you what it was. So again, when you see Uranus and all that, that's technology and stuff like that. And when you see Scorpio, that's what I'm talking about. Past lives, other lives, Earth's real history, the supernatural. So all this is going on, like I said, in the fourth house. And the fourth house deals with education and stuff like that. And like I keep saying, land and property and real estate. Well, if you were listening, I just got finished telling you, the land that's out here. So any one of these areas can be affected. And the more awake you are, the more you'll be able to see it. Because I know I used to drive my car a lot, just go on long drives and stuff. And I used to love to drive by the army bases back there. But I just didn't know the history that I know now. But now I kind of know why I probably was driving back there. Because there's something in me that resonates with that area. That area is called Reedy Town. But it's a big old fort out there. Big old army base. All fenced out. And when I found information, as soon as I looked at that information on Sand Hill, I found out how widespread they were. They weren't just located here in this part of New Jersey. They were all over. And Reedy Town was mentioned then. So this is spirits, and the spirit of these people are still there. And everybody's just waiting for the portals. This is why when you hear Remedy H talk, and when you hear Non-Nania talk, they're all telling you about a shift's about to happen. If vaguely he tells you a shift is about to happen. And that's when things start to restore back to what they were. So that's why I'm saying when you see Uranus and whether it's retrograde or direct, it doesn't matter in this case. And what I'm saying right now, it doesn't matter. Now later on, it will matter. But in this case, Uranus is going to help bring all that about. So now, not online as much as she used to be. She has a new video. Give me a second. I gotta just. All right, good. So how long is the video? Because she doesn't stay online that much. Well, where I'm at, it won't let me. It won't let me. You used to go always see the time of the video. Oh, okay, 2 minutes 23 seconds. And she's talking about the sign in Jonah. All right, so all this is going on. So like I said, the more awake you are. So let's get back to the whole. So now, soulmate is anybody in your soul family. But here's the deal. A lot of times people are more connected to their soulmate than they are their twin. Twins just can't work it out. Because for twins to work it out, like I said, you got to get past that ego. You got to get past that ego. And you got to have some healing going on. And some people, like I said, when you've been through bad relationship after bad relationship, the last thing you want to do is reconnect and put yourself back in that situation. Some people might do it, but then you have people that say, "I just don't want to be lonely." But you understand what I'm saying? They say, "I just don't want to be lonely," but that don't mean they want to be in a relationship, and that's where the confusion starts. They're not saying they want to be in a relationship; they're just saying they don't want to be lonely. So, in other words, if you're with that person, they're just using you because they don't want to be lonely. But they never said, hey, I want to be in a relationship with you. I want a meaningful relationship with you. They said, I just don't want to be lonely, which means that your ass could get replaced, or they might be cheating on you behind your back. That's why you have to learn it. I had to learn it. You have to learn what people are saying. Because we just assume, you say, oh, I'm looking for a long-term, I'm looking for LTR, I'm looking for a long-term relationship. And you think just because you meet a female that she's looking for the same thing, but she may not. Or she may be looking for it, but she ain't looking for it with you. So these are the things you have to get clear before you start making all these things up inside of your head. All right, this is a go. Green light. Let's move forward. And then you're going to be gravely mistaken when you find out that's not what the person's looking for. Or at least they're not looking for it with you. And some people say they are looking for it, but they're not. Because every time something tests them, test their loyalty to the situation, they're not going to want it. So this is the reason why twin flames will always fall. Now people say, I'm not saying every single one of them, but the ones that fall are always in separation. I just gave you the reasons why. It's still going to be an ego thing. It's also a maturity thing. Now the universe may have something to do with that, but from my experience, the universe can always bring the people together, but they have to want it. They have to both want it. And sometimes once they get it, they really don't want it. And they go back in separation. And then sometimes people will break up, make up. Like on your chart, you see a lot of that. A lot of tearing down and building back up, a lot of death and rebirth. Because you even got Scorpio in your 4th house. And that's what that is. Death and rebirth. And all the supernatural stuff going on. And whenever you have Scorpio, like anywhere near water signs, like Cancer or the 4th house or anything like that, or if you got Cancer in the 8th house or Cancer, Scorpio and Cancer, be careful of supernatural. But we already know you already got the psychic stuff going on and stuff like that. Whether you know it or not, you probably have some idea of it. But you got to be careful of the supernatural. And there are portals and all that stuff. Portals can be opened and all that stuff. You got to be very careful what you're looking to and what you're agreeing to. Because sometimes somebody might go on a website, and it might be a supernatural website, and they say, oh, blah, 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 blah. You have to agree to the terms of the user's website. But you don't understand you're agreeing to a whole lot more than you get on that website. You're opening up portals which these things can enter in you. So you have to be very careful. That's why I say you got to learn how to pay attention. Nothing on planet Earth is a joke. People think it's a joke, but the more you realize what's really going on, you know to be very, very careful who you're around, what you're agreeing to, what type of so-called entertainment are you listening to, what are you opening up. So again, that would all be soulmates. Now, a lot of times, you and your soulmate will have a way better relationship than you and your twin flame. Now, your twin flame is the same soul as you, a different body. Two people sharing the same soul. That's your twin soul, twin flame. Soulmate is just a whole soul. Because in order for spirit to come into this material world, a soul has to be created. And that's the only way that they can enter the world through a soul. So Uranus retrograde is a lot like Aries in the 4th house because it's extreme. It's no hot, no cold. So anything they say will always be our way or no way, right or wrong. Like they said on Phil Donahue. It's a religion or a cult that made the women wear special clothes to let everybody in the congregation know they have been punished. So when you don't know any better, you'll submit to stuff like that. You know, like I said, in the 1980s, I was much younger, didn't know anything about this planet, didn't know anything about the truth. So I think joining a religion, blah, 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 and it's a cult. So that was my first joining and seeing the fallacy of that. And then when you went to other religions, they got the same type of fallacy. A lot of they expect you to devote yourself to a lot of BS that's not proven, nor is it factual. But they still want you to believe it because they can take control over you. And they can tell you you have to do it because, oh, we represent God and God's and all this craziness. And this is why you have pedophilia and all kind of crazy stuff. And nobody's really questioning it until now, even though everybody knows it's been going on for a very long time. So we're like I said, we're having a shift going on where all this stuff is being brought down and the universe is trying to make these people be responsible for their actions and bring them to justice. But this is a very dark world. There's some good things on the planet, but this is a very dark world, and that's why all these people are still walking around free, probably molesting, abusing, and hurting other people and children, and still getting away with it, even though everybody knows it. You saw what that guy did. Was that guy Ricky? That guy on an award show? He looked at all those people and told them exactly what they were. But other than that, it was like it's still like another day in the donor office. He said, "Well, you don't make donuts. You don't make donuts in the office." I know, but the people in the office make sure the donuts get made. Get it? Got it. Good. That was my Devo for today. All right. So you got a lot of death, a lot of resurrection. You got a lot of upsets, and that's what this full moon is about. That's what this full moon is or was about. But remember, you're still under it. It was only less than 4 days ago. And see now when you look at Uranus retrograde, see like I said, you have a situation going on between other people's stuff, shared resources, and your stuff. And even in the universe right now, or as of the full moon, that cross is a vertex cross. That cross is all about unique events, soulmates, twin flames, coming together or breaking apart. So you got all that going on too. So all this you have in the Scorpio, which rules the eighth house, and your eighth house is very psychic. Whenever you have Pisces in the eighth house, that's going to be very psychic as well. And like I'm telling you, you'll have your ancestors trying to communicate with you too, through dreams or other supernatural situation. In some cases, maybe even visions. Whenever you have Neptune in the fifth house with Sagittarius, the primary thing is psychic ability. This is the clairs, like clairvoyance, clairsentience. Like I tell people, whenever you want to know what your gifts are, that's how you do it. Like I tell people over and over again, like a lot of people, they just keep on playing games with this to the point it's kind of sad, actually, because you got all these gifts, but yet when you have to find out about it, you're pausing and playing games and just silly stuff. But on the Archangel cards, it's a total of either 44 or 45 cards. At least 6 of those cards will tell you if you're clairsentience or whatever. But they come up through a read. And all 6 of those cards, they could come up because I've seen it happen, but that's very rare. Like one time we was playing cards and I got all 4 aces, like in the first 2 minutes. But that's not always going to happen. That's very rare. Something like that will happen. So I tell people how it's done, but you can't. People stay at a certain level and they're like that, and you can't tap back into the realm of the space, planets, astrology, and the realm of your gifts if you're still going to stay on some third dimensional BS. And that's why I tell people immediately. Like when you got people that are trying to cut all these corners and stuff like that, we can't cut no corners. It's already low. Everything is already low to make it affordable. We can't keep cutting corners. That's not going to solve your problem. That's just you showing the universe that you really don't believe this shit. So I tell you, if you really don't believe it, get away from me, because then you start messing me up. I don't need that energy around me. But that's what your fifth house is. It's clairvoyant. So some of your clairs will be there, but other throughout your chart, eighth house, all that. All this is clairvoyance. And the uniqueness about the fifth house and the eighth house, they deal a lot with sex. But so does Scorpio and Pluto as well. Sex and the mysteries of sex. So now you have 20 degrees Neptune, but Neptune retrograde is escapism. So this is not the type. This is the type of person who may use some type of substance or whatever. It's a form of escapism. Because some people say, "Man, I ain't escaping from nothing. I just like to get high," but that's escapism. Because like I said, anybody that has to make themselves feel a certain way by a substance, that's escapism. Because you should be able to make yourself feel high. You should be confident in life and stuff like that. So if you need something to make you feel high, that's totally escapism. So the 20 degrees, once again, is Pluto energy. It's a judgment card, which can be karmic. It could be endings. But again, the judgment card could also be about resurrection, again, because you see those people rising up. So it could be holding yourself accountable, but also rising up. And then it's 10 degrees, which is again Jupiter energy. But like I told you, anything with Jupiter energy and Sagittarius is a belief system. So this is still a belief system that's being brought up. And Neptune retrograde is pretty much about a person who was kind of shunned for whatever reason in a past life. So now they're trying to escape in this life. A Uranus retrograde is pretty much kind of like the revolutionary. In the past life, they were a revolutionary or they were always trying to fight some type of cause. So now in this life, they'll still be trying to fight a cause, even if they don't have to. So Uranus retrograde is trying to tell you to not overreact and not always looking for an argument or always trying to take somebody on. You have to learn how to live and let live. Now, once again, the vertex cross is all about meetings. It could be soulmate. It could be twin flames. A significant event, significant breakup, significant coming together, something significant, something arising at that time. And 29 is kind of like the number of the diplomat. Sixth house, which is supposed to be the home, but it's Capricornian. So this could be somebody that's holding has a business. They have a business that they're kind of running outside of their home. But Capricorn rules the 10th house. So when you look at the 10th house, it's everything I said about it. But you can kind of see the divine masculine and divine feminine. Just like when you look at the 9th house, you see both Venus and Mars there. Once again, that's like a twin flames reference. So to understand a person's 6th house here, you have to go to their 2nd house because that's where Virgo is, and Virgo rules the 6th house. But as soon as you see that Saturn retrograde, you already know. Usually Saturn is like the father or the male, and the moon is like the mother or a female. And once again, there's some type of abuse because Saturn retrograde is kind of like abuse. It can mean delays. The person needs to learn patience. And either they're the victim of abuse or they're abusing others. And this is, like I said, home and in the money. And then even when you see the 7 degrees, that's Cancer. That's still Cancer energy. So once again, it's kind of letting you know this is either like the father or whoever was in a father position. And in many cases, it could actually be a domineering mother. It just depends. But whatever it was, again, the home, he was abusive in the home. And I believe that's 7 degrees, and you see the number 12. So now number 12 is going to take you right back to Neptune. That's called the Hangman card. The Chariot means coming really fast. The number 7 is a Chariot card. Cancer energy or a mother energy coming really fast. But then 12 is the Hermit. He's upside down. He just doesn't want to be around people, but he's not really rushing for anything. So you have two energies there in Saturn retrograde. And this could, like I said, this could be the father who, that's what he does. He comes quick, but once he comes, either you're hiding away from him, trying to be like the hangman, you're trying to hide away from him, or he's just trying to accuse you. You know how people say, get me knocked? Because that's what that means, get me knocked. You know, throw me somewhere where I'm bound. So when rappers say, yeah, he's trying to get me knocked, that means trying to get him arrested. And that's really what the hangman does. He's arrested. He's upside down. He ain't going nowhere. So it doesn't have to be a jail cell arrest necessarily, but this is some type of authority that's kind of ruling your home or trying to, but they're abusive. Saturn retrograde is usually abusive. Abusive power, or the person feels like a power's abusing them. And again, Lilith, when you see Lilith in a home, especially retrograde, it's probably some form of abuse. Like if you see Lilith conjunct Saturn like you do, and they're both retrograde, and Virgo represents the home. So this is some type of home that was, some type of home abuse that was taken. It usually is like a older person, like a parent or a father with a younger person, represented by Lilith. So now she's 8 degrees. 8. But like I told you, see, 8 could be the Justice card. But it could also be the Strength card. Like I've seen that on a lot of natal charts recently. When you see that, it's kind of implying like an improper relationship between that male. I already told you who he represents, and the female. And it probably was coerced, because that's what Saturn retrograde does. But even just so everybody knows, any if you're sleeping around with anybody, that's not legal. That's considered coerced by by this country, by the law in this country. So even if you try to tell the people, no, listen, she came in and she did this and she said this and she was doing, it wouldn't matter. You would still be held accountable, not her, because of the age. The law is going to protect her. But that's what you see going on here, kind of. And it says 44. Now, why is it 44? Because 44 is usually a healing number. 44 is a healing number. Well, this is a financial house, so it could have been some type of lawsuit, or it will be. Because remember, the number 12 can be the 12th house, which is about prisons and courts, any building, and incarceration. And remember that Saturn rules Capricorn. So when you see Capricorn in her 6th house, it's making a big reference to this man in the 2nd house. But again, this is some type of finances that came through. And that's why I said so. So we know for a fact, according to her 2nd house, that fight that she has going on, that Mars energy, is her fighting probably him. But it looks like it's going to financially benefit her, and that's what good fortune is saying. Because good fortune is all like, good fortune is a lot like Jupiter. And I think her true north node does say 20. I gotta pull up her chart. Yep, her true north node is 20 degrees, so you know it was a judgment. That's a judgment card, and that's Pluto energy. So it's almost like planet Pluto is going to help her get judgment when it's abuser. And good fortune, as you notice, is 4 degrees, which is Aries energy, or the Emperor. But see, that would also be the father. Like the Emperor, like if that card is pulled in a home setting or a family setting, and you see the Emperor, that's usually like the father or stepfather or whatever man is in the authority. It could be the employer, but it depends on what card is being pulled. And then number 18, again, is the Moon card, which is all about doubt and things of that nature. Like somebody you can kind of bully because they don't have it. Like it's easy to get a young person to do something you want them to do because they're young and they don't know no better. So her second house is basically implying getting money from some intense things that happen within the family or within in the home, and she's getting money because she's had a decision in her favor at some point. And when you see that number 12, it could even be somebody being put in jail. And if they're not literally in jail, they're still bound by the law. Like when the law says you have to pay that money back, or if he slams down a hammer and says guilty, because a lot of people they get guilty and they still don't go to jail, or they go to jail and get right out real fast, or cases like that. And sometimes they're not out so fast. But either way, it's kind of like a form of healing for her. And that again is why Capricorn is in her sixth house. Because remember, the sixth house is about the home, but it's also about small children, small animals, and it is about healing and things like that. So she will get some justice according to that. And that's why the number 8 card could be the Justice card, which is Libra energy, but it could also be the Strength card, which is Leo, Divine Feminine, Divine Masculine. And you see a lot of 19s on your chart, but you see 19s on your chart because that is a Sun card of Sun energy, shining focus on things. But like I said, you got to remember too that Pluto is another thing that things are done secretly and stuff like that. But the Sun will expose it, bring it out. And that 17 degrees is Aquarius energy. That's what Pluto. And again, so it's going right back to your your fourth house, because Uranus rules Aquarius. So that's why I'm saying this is all. It's just like saying force. And we've seen this on a few charts that come, because I tell you they always come in batches. But this is more and more implying, because see, this is your third house, which is about young people. So that's like making a young person and putting them in a relationship. That's Libra. Like, me and you, when it shouldn't be that way. It's improper. And like I try to tell people, either that's going on now or has going on. And remember, any chart you see is your past in this life, your present, and your future. And if not, it's probably a past life. So you have to be true with yourself. Sometimes you have to go with inside of yourself, and you have to look at it as well. And again, Uranus retrograde is an attack. So remember, the third house is young people, publishing. It's a very creative house. It's multitasking. This is Gemini energy. This is the brotherhood. Your siblings around you, neighbors around you. This is short distance travel, like a relationship. Like Libra in the third house, it's not gonna last that long. But this one probably didn't last that long because it should never should have started in the first place. But Pluto is a lot of transformation, a lot of change, and again, you get your free report where you have to learn your eighth house. I used to read it, but you read it, it's a lot. It's a lot there in your eighth house. And you can't read all that because everything's not going to apply to one person. And it takes forever to read that over and over again. So that's how I do it that way. So again, 17 is Aquarius. So you just have to get familiar with your Aquarius. Find out what house it's in. We're going to do that right now. But even when you look at it, yeah, so we'll wait till we get there. And that is Aquarius energy. And that's the Star card, meaning hope. So with this Pluto retrograde, which means the attack or removal or something, You got the star card, that's supposed to be a good card, and you got the 17, which is well, you got the sun card 19, and you got the star card 17. So it's like this is going to be a good thing. This is going to be a good thing because that's what it looks like to me based on everything I'm seeing. Something will attack this situation, freeing this relationship because this is like a young person's house. The third house is a young person's house. It's like trying to take a young person and make them be in a relationship with you. And so something is going to hit. That's why I said planet Pluto in that third house is almost like a savior. And now let's see what planet Pluto is on the full moon chart. Yep, still attacking what? Capricorn. So, and plus, this could also affect your career a little bit. Because on the chart to the right, that Capricorn is representing so far the abuser. But just, the sign could be different. Like it don't have to just mean one person. That sign could be anybody under that Capricorn's energy. So it could. And remember, the sixth house is also about your daily activities, which could be your job as well. But whenever you have a Saturn retrograde, this is a person who has had problems with authority probably for lifetimes. But it really goes back to the person that abused them. And also you have to understand that time is a deception. And that's what people don't really understand. That's why sometimes, just like even in this time that you're in, sometimes you be prepared for shit before it happened. But that's when you're psychic and shit like that. Like you might get a feeling about a possession, a car, or whatever, and all of a sudden now you got a problem with it. But you didn't really, but it didn't happen until you got that feeling. So a lot of times, even Nanania said this: if you're in different dimensions or whatever you want to call it, parallel universe, whatever you want to tell it, time is going by like if you threw something in the dryer and the dryer is going around and around and around. So when you have people to learn how to manipulate science, they could actually go into another dimension. That's what they talk about Back to the Future and shit like that. So they can go into the future and actually look at themselves when they know how to do it. When people know how to do it, and there's people that do all that what do they call that? Whatever, astral planing and stuff. So these are the higher sciences, like I say, that you see in your fourth house, with Uranus and Scorpio. Because like I said, that's higher sciences, alternative sciences, and all kind of stuff. So that's why I try to tell people it's just better for you to get the information and try to get a general understanding of it. Because most people want to say, "Oh, that didn't happen, and this didn't happen, and blah blah blah." Yeah, but if you understood how time is and what I just got finished saying, it did happen. And I've seen cases where it's about to happen, so the universe is kind of warning the person. All right, give me a moment, and we shall continue. Now, like I said, everything I'm saying on this natal chart to the right. Remember, let's just give you an example. So Libra in the third house, like I said, that's usually a relationship, and usually the third house is really kind of like immature-ish, so it's gonna have issues. It's gonna not really be long lasting. They might be breaking up, making up, and all that. Whenever you see Pluto, death and resurrection. But remember, Libra, that sign, it represents the seventh house, whatever is in the seventh house, and it can be relationship, any type of partnership, any type of agreement, legal issues. It could still be karmic. Libra is just like Mayat, the scales of Mayat, all about karma, stuff like that. You did this, therefore, or karmic assignments. You may have a karmic assignment with somebody, or a karmic thing you're gonna go through. Somebody said like 50 Cent and Ja Rule are soul partners, and they said they've been fighting like that for past lives over past lives. And they say because most people, no matter what it was, they tend to let it go. Even if they don't ever talk to each other, they do tend to let it go and move on. But these two still kind of going at it. Prince and Morris Day are soul brothers or were soul brothers since they say Prince has left us. So when you see Libra, it could be exactly what I said it was for this chart, but it could be any of those things as well. Libra also represents open enemies, which again, that's anybody that's forcing you to do something you don't want to do, abusing you or taking advantage of you. That would be an open enemy no matter what. Because a lot of people tell you they love you, but they do a whole lot of horrible stuff to you or whatever. So that's why people have to take their charge, sit down with it, and listen to it, understand it. And again, that's why I try to give you everything as a whole. Because some stuff, people don't want to deal with, and sometimes things have happened to people, and they kind of don't want to talk about it anyway. So they got to bring it out. Now, in your 12th house, the good thing about your 12th house is even though it's leaving your 12th house, because remember, the time we were given is a possibility, but it was given from the Archangel, so it is a possibility that Jupiter should be in your 12th house, which is still close anyway. I would still tell you this anyway. Whenever you have Jupiter in your 12th house, that is your guardian angel. And not only is it your guardian angel, but when you do what you're supposed to be doing in the 12th house, he'll bless you with money. And also, if you're ever in a jam where you don't think you got money, that Jupiter angel, that's the guardian angel. Now, at some point on YouTube, they will begin to tell you what guardian angel is in your 12th house by the planet, but they haven't done it yet. They've been mentioning it, but they haven't given out names and stuff. But when I first came out with this, they didn't have too much information on Lilith online, but now they have a lot of information on Lilith online now. Like all in different. They had information on Lilith, generally speaking, but they wouldn't go like Lilith in the 4th or Lilith in the 5th house or Lilith in Pisces. That stuff came a little bit later. But when I first came out, it was not out here like that because I used to be trying my best to find it. All right, so give me one moment. So I just said 12th house planets, guardian angel, and it took me right to Michelle Knight, who taught us that. She's from Britain. Michelle Knight with one L. This person spelled her name with one L, so but she's in the UK. She's like in the top 3 best astrologers on the planet. Terry Nassan is also in the top 3. And again, don't get me wrong. If you have somebody that's working for you, then that will be your best. But I tell people make sure they're working for you, like they really work, because it just seems like out here on YouTube it's a lot of like groupie shit. They just follow somebody, for all the wrong reasons. They don't follow them because they're an expert at what they do. It's just like I just like the way they do it, or blah blah blah. But if you want a mechanic that if your junk is broke down, like in a cliff somewhere, or broke down in a hole somewhere, you want a mechanic that's actually going to show up and get you, get you going, get whatever broke fixed. You don't just want somebody that makes you feel good. That's just silly. That's what going back to that escapism and addictions and stuff. So it says, while Jupiter can sometimes be egotistic, here it expresses a deep, selfless love and desire to do good. But see, your Jupiter is just leaving. It's just leaving 12. It's actually going to where I said about egotism, because it will expand it. It will expand it. But it could. But both your 12th house and your first house are still about past life stuff. That's why I say we love to say, oh, somebody beat me up or my daddy beat me. But you might have been beating people in your past life, People are not sure, people don't know, but that's why I said I try to tell people don't spend a lot of your time, just crying. If you're gonna do something positive, but don't just spend a whole lot of time making yourself out to be the victim, because in the past life you were probably the victimizer. And that's what they say about Saturn retrograde. You may have been the victim, but then again you may have been the victimizer in the past life. So we don't want to waste 2020 continually talking about what somebody did to it. We need to use 2020 so we can get healing and move on. And maybe we can heal other people, or heal a person that did us wrong, like Joyce Myers had to help heal her father and get him to accept her faith that she had. All right, so I'm just looking at this real quick. I'm looking for Jupiter. I gotta make sure it's on this page. It's supposed to be, but all right. All right, so yeah, they do. I never knew that because I knew this site before. I didn't know they did the planets in the 12th house. So this is cool. I never knew that. I knew they did like Aries in the 12th or shit like that, but I never knew they did the Let's do this again. So let's do Jupiter in the 12th. We'll do both of them. We'll do Jupiter in the 12th and Jupiter in the first. Well, no, we won't. This is only about the 12th house. So give me. All right. So Jupiter in the 12th. So they say even if you want to help in the 12th, be careful because people will take advantage of you, which we'll talk about when we get there. So Jupiter in the 12th will help you with your karma because you can actually cleanse your karma in the 12th house with Jupiter there. And again, what I'm trying to say to you is Jupiter, because of the time we have, it puts it on the crust. But it's still like, I call that the borderline. So your Jupiter, even though it's the beginning of your first house, which could make it very egotistical, so you have to really watch the ego. And see, people have to be careful with the ego because it can be high sensitivity, especially if you are a victim of abuse. But that's still, like I said, that's your ego because you want to keep talking about it. You want to tell the whole world. Like where I'm from, there's a preacher out here, and I happened to be in that church that day. He started talking about rap music. He said, "What is it with all these rappers? They got to tell everybody about everything they've been through." He said, "They got to tell the whole world, oh, police officer knocked me upside my head. Oh, blah, blah, blah." He said, "These guys be making a rap record, and if their father used to beat them when they was little, they got to be dancing across the stage." And he took the mic cord, because it was a long mic cord, and he was acting like it was his father's belt. He was going across the stage going, "My daddy beat me." My daddy, like you got to tell the whole world that somebody done did something to you. So Jupiter will help you, but Jupiter can reverse your karma too. So in the 12th house, but see, you got family in the 12th house. That's why I try to tell you. Like Joyce Myers, she didn't have to do it. She wanted to do it, but she actually went back and helped her father repent and actually be saved through, because, Joyce Myers is a preacher, of course. So she's into Christianity. So she had her father request that. Now, most people wouldn't have did that. Most people wouldn't have cared that the man died. They would have said, "You got it coming. I don't care." So each person, they know what they have to do. But that's the main reason why you have Cancer in your 12th house, because you got to come to grips with that. And that's why when you look at that Saturn retrograde, when you see that number 7, that number 7 is a Cancer. That's a Chariot card. That's Cancer energy. So with Jupiter in your 12th, it's going to help you. It's your guardian angel. Anybody trying to do anything to you, Jupiter going to get them. Protect you. Say, "Why didn't protect me than that?" Because it's a reason for everything that happens. But the reason you see Jupiter right there, and you got Cancer right there. So that's why I try to tell you. And we do see you getting money. We do see you getting money if you haven't already gotten it. We do see you getting money. So that was Jupiter as well. Because Jupiter is finances. So like I said, I told you I was going to take my time. But this is some good information. So I want to make sure we look at all of this. 12th house Cancer. Cancer appears as a strong hidden sensitivity, protected like the soft underbelly of a crab in its shell. because the symbol for Cancer is a crab. You are easily hurt, but you hide it because of your public image. So bright and exuberant. And I was going to talk about that as well. Because what happens is when we're hurt, like let me just use it a little bit. Like Leos can be sensitive. They're strong, they're powerful, but they want some LL. Like I'm talking about like real Leo, a real Leo, a unique Leo or whatever, or authentic Leo. I didn't mean to say unique. An authentic Leo is usually kind of sensitive, and that's what they say about Leos. Like y'all are just too sensitive. Y'all want to talk about everything. Y'all want to argue about everything. But Leos just want that love. They want some LL. I need love. I want love. So the Leo might meet. Let's just say it's a male Leo, but he got that love. You want to be loved or whatever. So in that way, it's kind of like a feminine inside of it. Not that he's no punk, because I just told y'all, you could watch a little cat, fight off 3 crocodiles by itself. Now that ain't no punk. That's the lion family. That's the cat family, lion family. Ain't no punk. But when it comes to love, now they all sensitive and shit. So a Leo might meet somebody at first and say something to him, and they may just, just a typical response. They may say something, kind of like rude or whatever, but they don't really want it. They either playing hard to get, or some people you got to give them kind of like a reality check. It doesn't mean you got to be nasty or mean. It just means you got to let this person know that, I'm trying to give you a compliment or whatever. You got to figure out a way to keep the person interested. But a Leo will just give up, because if a Leo been hurt and been hurt and been hurt and been hurt, that's the last thing he wants to see again. He don't want to reach out to somebody and they're gonna already say something stupid already. I just met you trying to break the ice. And you already saying something stupid. So they getting all sensitive and shit. And that's why the females be saying Leos wanna talk, they wanna go over the bullshit. I ain't got no time for no Leo. They too sensitive. So now the reason why I'm saying this to you, because that's your ascendant, but you got a lot of stuff going on with your Leo in the first house. Plus it's very fiery. So you have to learn how to shake it off. Like when Jay-Z was battling Nas, and he had that one song, "Brush It Off" or some shit he used to say. And in the video, when him and Rockefeller came into the him and the Rock came into the radio station, and Nas was trying to do an interview, and Jay-Z and him just pushed Nas out of and took the joint over. So you gotta be able to brush that off your shoulder, because that's what's gonna happen. And you're gonna be saying, man, that's what I mean about women, because women ain't bad, bad, bad. But no, it's not women, it's just you. You just hurt. You gotta be able to say something back witty. Don't have to be disrespectful, but you gotta be able to say something back witty, so that then they look at you like, wow, he's confident in himself. Because a good movie to watch is I think it was Jada Pickett and Tommy Davidson. And he was like the nerd and stuff, and it took the whole movie before she started liking him. Or like Steve Urkel and Laura Winslow. Oh, I'm crying now just thinking about that. How long it took for Laura to realize what she had and shit. So sometimes you got to put that work in. But that's why I said Leo wants it authentic. That's why I use that word. He wants it authentic, and he wants it both ways. So that's why I would say, if you do have that Leo energy in you, then don't waste time on somebody who you don't think could ever be where you need them to be. Because there's nothing wrong with love, but people see it differently, and people accept love differently. So they were talking about that sensitivity. So a 12th house Cancer is like a Leo, and your ascendant is Leo in the first house. So they say this person might be afraid of letting people see their emotions if they have Cancer in the 12th house. So you might have a problem thinking people don't like you. So sometimes you push people away. and that leaves people dismayed and confused. All right, give me 1 second. I'm just looking around a couple of things. All right. Okay, now there's a baby Charlotte. They want a blood drive for her. This is my first time hearing about the baby. So give me one moment. I want to look at what that's all about. Oh, she's 12 years old, diagnosed with neuroblastoma. It's a rare type of cancer found in children 5 and under. So she had a surgery last year. Well, over the last year, she's been going to chemo. Wow. I'm not gonna say the rest. They've really been operating on her. I don't want to say that because people are gonna get sad. Like the place I used to go to was called Deliverance Temple, and let me just say there's a donation for her. And there was a woman that had a little baby, and she came in and said, she had a baby with her, and she said that the doctors had told her, they said a lot of bad stuff about the baby. And we just looked at her. We said, man, don't let nobody speak no crazy stuff over your baby. So we just, everybody in the temple started praying over that baby and stuff like that. We said, don't let nobody speak no crazy stuff over your baby and stuff. Cause no, but we would see healing. Like I would see people get healed. Like man, I'll die not believing that bullshit. But don't get me wrong. If I know I'm sick and I don't get my healing through prayers and stuff, I will go see a doctor. I got a doctor, the same doctor I had since 1991. But what I'm saying is I don't believe everything. If you know how many times somebody told me some shit about me, I'm still walking around here. Sometimes I'll just defy it. Like I'm just a rebel. I've always been a rebel. So if you tell me I got something, I'll do something to make it worse. Like I'll defy it. Like I don't believe it. But I'm not telling y'all to do it. But I just, I've seen healing. I've gotten healed. I've healed other people and shit. I got that old school. Even though I never really been an old school Christian, I got that old school Christian in me. When they say the devil is a liar. All right. Give me one moment. Give me one moment. All right, so let's go on. So the point I'm trying to make is, we already see Sagittarius aura, and it's kind of pretty much telling you who that is and all that. For some people, it might be the employer, anybody that has authority over. Like I said, Virgo can be any type of service, home service, cleaning house, any type of home. You might work in some type of center where they deal with elderly people, or elderly people who own houses or homes, or in nursing homes, or see, you gotta put it together. That's all. But it's gonna be pretty accurate. You have people that just go, "Oh, that ain't never happened." On I don't know. I don't know why do you say that. That don't make no sense to me. And I've seen people do that, and then come to find out they didn't know what they was talking about. They were wrong. They weren't being honest, or they forgot about it. And sometimes, if it is abuse or something, subconsciously people don't want to believe. They don't want to remember that stuff. That's why you see that stuff like it. Whenever you see Cancer in the 12th house, that's usually that has something to do with stuff that's being hidden in the 12th house. Because both the 8th house and the 12th house are about hiding stuff. All right, let's go on. So that's first house, second house, third house, fourth house, fifth house, sixth house. Now seventh house. Now, whenever you see Aquarius in the seventh house, which is all about relationships, I already explained it to you when I did Libra. This is a person that will have a non-traditional relationship with somebody, whatever you want to call it, or non-traditional quote love unquote connection to somebody. Because remember, one thing about Aquarius, they want their freedom. So no matter what type of relationship is, if you got Aquarius in the seventh house, this person is not trying to connect like in depth. Now, when you see that number 26, see that's Pallas to asteroid. That's all about. That's a soulmate asteroid. A lot of people think Pallas is not a soulmate asteroid, but it is a soulmate. It usually represents the partner who's a little bit more serious about the relationship. So here you have like a serious is a Aquarius energy, but you already see a strong Uranus. That's what I mean. A lot of times your twin flame will have a connection to your dad or your mom, whatever it is, whether you're a man or female. It's always like that because Aquarius is ruled by Uranus. And this is all about your 11th house. So when we get to your 11th house, and see, once again, 11th house, you got Gemini yet again. And I'm going to tell you, Gemini is always about immaturity, short term, or children. So you see it again. So when you had that 26 there, this could be a person who is making decisions based on a belief. Because 26 is like the God number. Like that's somebody who believes, in God, or they speak in front of their interpretation of the Bible or stuff like that. All right, so they really do. Like they got a first house, just like they do the 12. I never do that, so I copied this website down so I can come back to it again. This is trusted psychic mediums, but it's funny. It was dealing with this 12th house for this person. They didn't even say whether they were psychic or not. But yes, sir, if you got a Cancer and you're very intuitive, and you're gonna have like you're gonna be somewhat of an empath. You can tap into other people's energy and stuff. Pretty psychic. All right. All right. So so based on everything we're learning from this chart, This is some type of weird connection. And they say Aquarius and Uranus are the weird energies of the natal chart. It's some type of weird connection with someone or something that is youthful or probably not appropriate. That's again Aquarius. But the soulmate asteroid is there. And the person I told you, usually the asteroid Pallas is but Pallas is also about young girl. So is like Vesta, but I'm gonna read Pallas again real quick. And Pallas is also about a relationship with the father. So we're gonna look at that real quick. And but it's based on their belief system, whatever that is. Because I mean, when you want to sin, you'll come up with any excuse. Like for incestuous molestation, the father was saying, well, that was helping her not lay around with boys in school and get pregnant by a boy in school and blah blah blah. But that doesn't you don't justify that by doing what you did. So uh, give me a second, please. And remember, anything with especially Sagittarius or Gemini could be any form of publishing or speaking out in public, being in public. All right. So let me see what we're doing here. And again, even if you got Cancer in your 12th house, like you do, again, that's karmic. That's why I said you really, when you use the natal chart, you really can't deny that a lot of these connections are karmic. And you say, because most people say, like, there's a woman out here that says that the people that died, like during World War II and stuff like that, that was like they chose that. That was like that's when you call it a karmic assignment. When you choose that assignment to go through something with a person or go through a situation. And people got mad because they said no way in the world people would choose to come here and go through that experience. But you never know. If you're dealing with angels that have never, never felt pain before, never felt death, or they may. But you can see it on the chart. You can definitely see there's a karmic connection. All right, so Palace 26 degrees. We're going. Okay, and the reason being because, like I said, this is a people concerns in the seventh house. But a lot of times, if you're brought up a certain way, you just know to be around people. You know to be around the church and stuff like that. But again, these are people that do things based on tradition or expectation. They're not doing it for the right reasons. They're not doing it for pleasing God or spiritual reasons, because if they was, they wouldn't divert to kind of like living a hypocritical double life. So Pallas in Greek, Pallas is the Titan god of the ancient Greek pantheon, born in the golden age of Greek mythology, before the rise of Zeus and other Olympian deities. Pallas was the second generation Titan born to the first generation. So in this one, they're making Pallas a male god under Greek mythology, but Pallas is pretty much perceived as a female energy. See, now listen to this. In mythology, Pallas was a giant and a son of Uranus. So now we're talking about Uranus, but there go your Uranus Aquarius connection. So I find that interesting. Now Pallas is an epithet of the Greek goddess Athena. So they keep attributing Pallas a male, which they're saying is a male. All right, so we're gonna look at this a little bit more, try to figure some things out. All right, so we're gonna get rid of this and keep looking. See, in some cases, Pallas is a female, in others, she's a male. And they keep associating Pallas with giants. And Pallas has always had that warrior energy. Now they're associating Titan with a nymph of Lake Tinanus in Libya, North Africa. So now Pallas is being connected to Africa or North Africa. Now that's sounding more and more like Remedy H, because he's always talking about the Titans. So now they're saying she was raised with the goddess Athena, because really Athena is the goddess of war, but a lot of times Pallas takes that role as well. So Athena, well, I think they're saying Athena accidentally killed her during a war game. So then Athena crafted a wooden statue of her friend Pallas. And now some people say that they were twin daughters of Titron, a Libyan sea god. And he was identified with Poseidon and Tritonis, a goddess of the saltwater lake. All right. So I know when Pallas is reversed, she also fights for the underdog. But since she's in Aquarius on your chart, I'm gonna assume she probably fights for the common people or underdogs, whether she's reversed or not, whether she's retrograde or not. All right, so here goes something. Okay, this person doing a lot of writing. I'm just trying to get them to get to the point. So Pallas is the goddess of wisdom. But she's also the goddess of self-defense. So again, if somebody's hurting you or any, you're gonna want to take self-defense, so you're gonna want to defend yourself. And that's what Pallas retrograde does. She definitely reaches out to help the less fortunate. So here we go. Pallas sprang fully formed and armed from the head of her father. Now, even in Hindu gods, they have storylines like that. Like pretty much one god came out of the head or the body of another. So, but what I'm trying to tell you, they're showing you that father-daughter connection that you see on your chart. And Pallas's father was the king of heaven. And in your case, you even see that number 26. Because that's what you got going on. And even when you go back over your chart, when you see that number 4, that's the emperor. So emperor is like another way of saying king. And some of these people have lived in past times in those roles and stuff. Like when you go to your good fortune, right there, and that's the home in your second house. And that number 4 degrees is the emperor. But it's right next to your Saturn. See, I'm saying it's the same person, the same energy. Now, don't get me wrong, because throughout your life, you may meet different people that also fit in that role. But essentially, it's talking about the one person that you got some type of connection with in this life, whether you like it or not. So, you like I said, you're seeing a connection between her and her father, because Pallas is fully formed and armed from the head with her father. The king of heaven, she again came out of his head. And Pallas is also connected to the art of weaving. And her symbol is the wise owl. So she will defend herself and those important to her. And again, now this is going on in your 7th house, but Aquarius is there. And then when you go to the 11th house where Uranus rules, there's Gemini. And Gemini represents real young children. So this person may have had to protect younger ones in their family from this assaulting. So it's a chance that this person may be good with fabrics and doing things even with her hair, but weaving and doing her hair. And she has a skill with needle and thread. So they say she's not the aggressor. She doesn't strike first, but she does defend herself and her loved ones. So Pallas is a warrior queen, but she can also be a philosopher. And that's why you're seeing so much Sagittarius on this chart. But I still think she gets a lot of philosophy from that person that seems to be in the father role. And that's why they're talking about coming out of somebody's head and all that. That's like when somebody's playing mind games on you and they, oh man, that person's all up in your head. See, her closest astrological sign seems to be Sagittarius. And the house that Pallas is primarily connected to is the ninth house. So that's interesting. So remember, Sagittarius and Aquarius, they want that freedom. But in the case like that, if you've been abused or stuff like that, you are going to kind of want freedom. Because that's the form of way you protecting yourself and not being bullied again. So Palace is all about defense and strategy. So pretty much they're showing that you developed these a Palace like defense strategy or however you did it in the seventh house when you had to be with this person. Definitely was abusive. So they say in that place where your palace is located on your chart, she's standing up against the bully or the aggressor. So if she came out of her father's head, he kind of created her, and that's why in any situation, like if you're a female and you go through some mean guy or pushy guy, he does kind of change you because women ain't like that. When they fight back, they not having that shit, and that's why I said sometimes you'll see a female and you'll say just one thing and she'll immediately come back with some you know really over the edge type deal. And sometimes you could either, you might get offended because you be like, damn, why she come back like that? But you don't know what she's been through. So you kind of see this on the chart too. And whenever you see Aquarius, this is always going to be friends, association groups. But see, again, it's still like advanced technology. And remember, Aquarius, Sagittarius, or Gemini can be the internet or any type of publishing. Now, what do you have in the eighth house? Now, Pisces Again, this is really psychic, and the eighth house is anything from the supernatural, the unknown, technology, the past, death, birth, resurrection, or birth, death, resurrection, monsters, you name it. It's all in the eighth house. Soulmates, past lives. So you have a nurturer at 25 degrees. The nurturer is Sirius. Kind of like motherly energy, but this person may get strength from dealing with the supernatural. So it's nurturing for her to have that spiritual connection to the supernatural. Because really, Pisces rules the 12th house with Neptune. So that's like normal. That's like pretty much normal spirituality, along depending on what houses or what constellation it's in. But that's normal like spirituality. But when you take Pisces and put it in the eighth house, that's like a Doreen virtue. Because Doreen virtue was always a Christian. That's why people shouldn't be so shocked that she left off card reading and all that stuff and went deeper into Christianity. Because she's always a Christian. So that's like a Doreen virtue. That's a Christian in the eighth house of the unknown and the mysticism. Because Jesus told you that there's mysteries to the kingdom. And he knew what they was in Matthew 13. So he certainly didn't expect for Christianity to be what it is now. Because it's basically you just hearing a bunch of stories and people telling you can't do this and you can't do that and blah, blah, blah. But if you really understood, it's mysticism and it's a whole lot of stuff you're going to be connected to. And when you read your Bible, you see that those people were connected to it. Now, your ninth house is just way off the hook. So there's somebody primarily with Sagittarius or Aries energy that's really making your ninth house very fighting. But you can tell it's karmic, and they go to number 7 again. So you would have to ask yourself, is it the same guy over here in your second house, bringing all this drama in your ninth? And see, remember, your ninth house is higher law. Like you got like local law, state law, federal law. And a lot of stuff, that's why I said people don't really understand how the law works. Because if you do something to a child, that might go right to a federal court. Probably will, it might. Especially, let's just say you take the child across, and you take anybody across state lines without their consent, that's going to be a federal crime. You will have some feds looking for your ass. So, well, listen, man, I had to get something off my chest. We was just talking, I was driving, I was paying attention. I was just mad. Yeah, but you took this person across the line. They didn't give you permission to do that. And that crosses that is now a federal case, bro. And you're probably going to do some jail time because of it. And you better watch your tone, because when the feds say you're going to do 10 years, you're going to do about 9 years and 6 months. There ain't no early parole. Ain't no good behavior. Don't make no difference. You can do whatever you want. And then you better not get crazy up in there, because they're going to make it longer than it already is. But you're going to do 85 to 95% of your time when you're messing with the feds. So that is what the ninth house is about. So you see it going down. This is why I'm telling you this is probably going to go legal. If it didn't already go legal, it probably will. So, and see, Vesta, I told you, Vesta don't like no abuse. She don't like no abuser. Now, what I want to do, if I could find that website I was just at, because I think I got rid of it. I found it. I want to see what they say about Vesta, because Vesta also was abused. She was a priestess. Like you got Virgo, but Vesta's like a female priestess, but she's a young girl. Now some people say she's only like 6 to 10 years old. Like she's young, even like 6 to 9 years old. Some people say no, she was a teenager. Because if you study your Bible, Mother Mary was actually a teenager. Mother Mary was just a teenager. She wasn't a grown woman or nothing like that. She was a teenager when she had Jesus. But none of this stuff is new. Like if you know how this mysticism works and stuff, they always had young girl priestesses and stuff like that. That's really nothing new. So Vesta hates any form of aggression, and she'll definitely get you back. Because Vesta also represents the 12th house or isolation, so that's why I said this is like in the 9th house. It's a legal matter, and then the reason why you got all this Mars energy is his energy against her energy. But then when you get arrested by the police, you got to go to court and fight up in that. So that's why you see all that Mars and Aries energy in that ninth house, because everybody's fighting. They're fighting to lock your ass up, lock whoever broke the law. They fighting to lock his ass up or whoever. Yeah, he's fighting to stay out of or get some type of mercy, and she's fighting for revenge, and that's where Vesta comes in, because Vesta's going to fight for her. Vesta hates abusive men because they beat up all them priestess. That was Vesta energy. They beat up all them priests. They were just young girls, beat them up and then raped them and stuff and everything. I think they took their life and stuff. So a lot of people say when you die, you go up to the stars or whatever. Me personally, I think all energy is conscious, and when that energy leaves that body, it goes back to being omnipresent. That's why people say as above, so below, because they're talking about source. You came from source, one way or another, you're going back to source. And when you saw the Terminator movie, they showed you that. Like, which one was it? The third one when he was like liquid. That dude could just turn into anything. So once you come out that body, you have them same abilities. All right, let's keep moving. Going back to the ninth house. Now remember, ninth house of your higher self. I explained everything there. So really, this is really the house where the twin flames supposed to meet and kind of become one again. Your higher self is the two of you back together as one. Like only in third dimensional matrix do you see separation. In the third house, you won't see it. Now, when you see couples that are messing around with that Gemini energy or third house energy, they just make up, break up, don't stick together. But when you see that couple, when they start to get to the ninth house or the Sagittarius energy, they have a better chance of staying together or making it go longer. So that is what you're looking at now. But you got to remember that is all fire sign energy with Aries. There is the house is ruled by Sagittarius, and not too far from it in the next house is the sun. So they purpose. When I say they, I mean the people that put your natal chart together. They purposely have it like that. But also, when they talk about long distance and all that, they could also be talking about other realms. Because this could even be universal law or you could say karmic laws if you want. But laws almost from another realm. Like if you were a Christian, you would say, well, every time there's a war in heaven, down here on earth, there's wars and stuff. As above, so below. So when you're ninth house, you're representing stuff going on like light versus darkness, good versus evil. You have to remember, you had Jesus, you had Judas, you had Joseph, and his 10 brothers tried to kill him. So even though they considered themselves people of God and all of that, they were actually doing the work of the darkness. They were trying to kill their own brother, who was the foretold prophet. Because you got to remember, Joseph was a type of savior as well. He saved that nation from extinction. Moses, another type of savior. Jesus Christ, another type of savior. So you have all this going on, this wars going on. And you had this little girl who was like a priestess, who the universe is using her to fight her abuser. And this is also going on in the ninth house to bring this to justice. And we did talk about the second house of justice in it and stuff like that. That's why I always tell people, always try to take notes and things like that, because this is not a joke. And that's why when you're third dimensional, you kind of block all this stuff out. But all this stuff is going on around you at all times. Sometimes you might have been driving and saw some stuff up in the sky. Like one time the 13th son was driving. I believe that's his girlfriend or whoever she is. And up in the sky above him was like some strange cloud. But it wasn't like an average cloud. That was like a UFO type cloud. It's like the same type of, they tell you, clouds in the Bible. The same stuff is going on in the Bible. You see all these clouds show up, and it's lightning in the clouds and fire in the cloud and all that. That stuff is going on in the Bible. So 13th son got that. He got that video. But these things happen all the time. So you're not just in third dimension. It's other dimensions and other realms all around you. And this is the type of stuff you're seeing in your third house, where, to me, this is a bigger battle than just you going against whoever hurt you. Is as big as above, so below. Oh yeah, I want to say what they said about Vesta. Give me a moment. Or let's go on. It's funny, they jump from Vesta in the 8th house all the way to Vesta in the 11th house. So now they say Vesta is the guardian of the hearth and the home, and that's why I told you about Virgo. So she saw what was going on, and now you probably were being protected even if you didn't think you were. But now, when you get to the 9th house and maybe other parts of your chart, it's time for Vesta and these other people who are learning. When I say people, I'm talking about because all these got personalities and energy. So you got asteroids, you got planets, but they all have personalities and energies. But now Vesta wants justice, and then she wants it in the highest court. Now, if you go to the highest court, the 9th house, to get justice, meaning the punishment is also going to be very, very high. So Vesta is the goddess in charge of the eternal flame. Because wherever you see Vesta in your chart, you have to be careful. Because if you don't take breaks and take care of yourself, you can burn yourself out. So she fights to keep the household alive, safe, and well. And again, where am I at? I'm at www.llewellyn.com. www.llewellyn.com. And it's called, well, if I remember, because I don't want to take this cursor and go up to try to find the title, because then I've been lost this again, and it took me a minute to find out. I don't feel like looking for it again. When I'm done with this, I'll immediately go up and get you the title. So Vesta is a divine representation of the flame inside of ourselves, the one that gives us the spark of life. So now she's saying Vesta is a place in our charts that allow us to understand the way we feel towards our home. Well, in your case, Vesta is a place in your chart that is demanding justice for what happened in the home. It says for our home and family. And she is the inspiration that keeps you going. Because again, whenever somebody's been victimized, they have to get justice. Otherwise, they'll never, it helps in the healing. And if I'm not mistaken, I think you have Chiron in your 9th house. I'm not looking at your chart right now. I'm reading this, but I'm pretty sure you got Chiron there. Chiron is about healing. So she is a flame of ambition and the desire to keep surviving in a difficult world. She is the joy we feel when we give accomplishment a goal. She is the joy we feel when we accomplish a goal and make our dreams realities. Now, this is something I never knew before. Vesta was not allowed to fall in love. Well, I did kind of know because they make them go stay at the temple all the time. She had to keep herself committed to the endless tending of the flame. But see, if this was a female being abused, then yeah, the abuser is not gonna let her around nobody else. And even if he does allow it to make it look like everything's normal when it's not, he's gonna be secretly threatening her and telling you better not do this, you better not do that. So in that sense, she wouldn't be allowed to do anything with anybody else but that person, unless he really is kinky or freaky, or unless he just didn't care. But most times it's very obsessive, very. When you see like Scorpio, like that Scorpio in the 4th house, this type of stuff goes on. Secret sex, strange sex, perverted sex, animalistic sex, dark sex, violent sex, and it's obsession, stalking, all kind of stuff. That's all Scorpio. That's why you have that free report to really get to know your Scorpio and your 8th house and your Pluto. So Vesta represents repression. But now, what people have to understand, Vesta can be spiritual. Vesta can be this repressed priestess. sexually repressed individual. But Vesta could also be very loose sexually and morally. So it depends on where she is on your chart. So Vesta will help you get through the darkest days, keep you feeling alive, and things like that. She'll be your inner life and get you through tough times. All right, so that was Vesta. Now let's look at what's going on with the Aries in the universe. So Aries in the universe again it's kind of ironic because Aries is in the 11th house, which means it's going to affect friends, association, groups, organizations. And when you go to the first house that Aries rules, Gemini is there, which is really essentially is about children. So it's going to affect children one way or the other. And if we go to the ninth house once again. See, you know what's crazy? Now, when you look at your Aquarius, you see that 26? Because what this person did, they perverted the word of God to do some perverted stuff they shouldn't have did. Now, what you see what the universe is doing with Aquarius, the word of God is there, love, and bringing it back. Now, number 23, just so you know, number 23 is a Sirius constellation. That is your Black Madonna. That is your Isis. That is your Mother Mary. That's the Sirius constellation. And just to let you know, most people will tell you that that star that led the wise men to Jesus was the Sirius constellation. And again, represented by Mother Mary on earth with the baby Jesus. So you got Sirius and her son Horus, who is Jesus. Now, another one, and all this stuff you could look up. So it's up to you to look it up. If you don't do your research and stuff, you'll think I'm just rambling. And even when you listen to the Hopi Indian, they told you that two stars are coming to destroy this planet. One is a blue star, which I pretty much believe is the Sirius constellation, and then there's a red star. And that might be that red planet that be making the skies all red oxide all the time. So here you have a type of judgment in this ninth house. And again, your medium Coeli, which is Taurus, works right with your true north node. So those are all earth signs. And in my opinion, that pretty much has to do with balance. But we are talking about justice, and this is still about the home. This is still about things that happen in the home or Virgo that shouldn't have happened, and now the universe and with Vesta are demanding justice. So Venus is there at 5 degrees, and again that would be the Taurus energy, but it could also be Leo energy as well. And ironically, Vesta is also at 5 degrees. Now, remember, in the tarot card, 5 degrees and number 5 is the Pope, the Hierophant. So again, they're going after a masculine energy, a male who used scripture and spirituality to do things he shouldn't have done. And so now is the time for justice. And when you see Mercury at 10 degrees, once again, that's Jupiter energy. Remember I told you Jupiter was going to get you some money for what happened to you? That's Mercury, but you have to communicate though. That's why they did it with Mercury. Because if you don't talk about it, a lot of victims won't talk. You say, "Oh, I don't want to get somebody in trouble," but they wasn't caring about you when they was abusing you and stuff. They wasn't caring about you. So that's why I say, me, I'm here. I'm still here because I had crazy people around me the whole time, and I'll fight. So I'm the epitome of that Aries energy, fighting for self-preservation. Because if I didn't do that, I would have been wiped out a long time ago. And the people that would have done it would be acting like, "Oh, they're so sad," and "Oh, how could this have happened?" When they're the ones that really helped get it done. So that's why the Bible told you about Joseph and his 11 brothers. They tried to kill their own brother and then tried to cover it up. So this stuff really goes on. That's why Messiah said, "Your enemies will be people of your own household." You have to be very careful. So they're telling you it. With Mercury, you have to speak up. Because if you don't speak up, there's no way you're going to get that 10 degrees, which is the wheel, a fortune card. That's like a jackpot. That if you've been violated, you deserve it. And in 29, it's telling you that the moment you do tell the truth and speak up or testify, boom, 29 is all over. It's a done deal for your abuser, that Aries energy, that fiery Aries energy that was bullying you and doing all kind of stuff. And then you see the tower, 16 degrees, 0 minutes. 16 degrees is bringing it down. He's being brought down. And then it's a reset. It's a reset finally. And usually a lot of times full moons are about resets. New moons can be about new things beginning as well too. But full moons, believe it or not, can be about exposés, revelations, and resets as well too. And then guess what happens? Finally, Juno, a serious relationship at 21 degrees, but it's still a world card or endings. Endings is at 21 degrees. World card ending. And then the ending for who? Is that 7 again? Well, last time we saw 7 with that sort of aggressive energy was right here. When it was Saturn retrograde, which we identified that as to be the father or the abuser of the home. So it's almost like saying that's the karmic ending of this connection. Is when it gets here. Time to pay. So Chiron is in your 9th house. Chiron is in your 10th house. But we still explained all of that. Oh yeah, now I'm gonna hope this website is still open so I can give you the title of it. The website I was at. Well, let me see it. Okay, it's called Karma and the Subconscious on trustedpsychicmediums.com. So that's why Taurus is part of the medium coeli is Taurus, is part of your true north node, because it's time to get money. And like I said, the hint of your natal chart is saying this has happened before in other past lives as well. But if this in this past life, you have the opportunity to be rewarded as long as you speak up. Now, again, what I'm trying to tell you is, whether this is directly the father or not, I definitely know you have some situation, or have had the opportunity to, or you will be given an opportunity to speak up. Because by you speaking up, that money's coming. See, when I do this, I don't do this to try to say this is the way it's going to be. Because I know it's so many different interpretations of all these houses and all these planets and all this. So I try to do as best I can. And again, Gemini in the 11th house, again, it's going to be friends, association, groups. But it's all about media for the most part. And it could be about brotherhood or whatever. Whether that's some type of support, because if people hear about stuff in the media, they will try to show some type of support one way or another. Now, like I said, when you have Cancer in the 12th house, this is all the hidden stuff. It might even be past life stuff, but the whole idea is to bring it to fruition. And plus, again, this is the house of buildings and stuff, so you could also seek a qualified professional to help you, and all these things that was coming out. And you could still be somewhat, because that is the house of service for your karma and stuff like that, so you could still offer your services to families or a family and stuff like that, and maybe even your own family. Because in the 12th house, you want to bring all that stuff out in the open. Then you want to bring it to what's called come to grips with it, reckon it, come to grips with it, or bring it to endings, so that now you could be healed from it and move on. Now, this will conclude this particular natal chart. And now we'll take a quick look over to the other chart to the left. See, when you see that moon with Pisces, and see, Lilith is also about repression, but Lilith will be bringing this out. Lilith will be bringing these things out, like through your dreams, all kind of things. So as you can see, even with Sagittarius in the 7th house, this chart over here to the left, see, they're really trying to bring in a reckoning. A reckoning. So even the chart to the left, Sun conjunct Jupiter, this is all about money, and it's going on pretty much in the 8th house, but it's going on in the 8th house in Capricorn. So that would be your 10th house as well, because Capricorn rules the 10th house. All right. This is Cat. I'm out.